Okay, I got to comment on something I haven't even watched yet, but I know the nature of it, so I might even do like a part 2 of this. I'm sitting here, I was going through YouTube, and it has Zack Galifianakis delivers scathing takedown of mega comedians. So I guess the Trump comedians, and I don't know who all that would include. Now, I'm not defending those people, but crap like this ain't going to stand. It's not. This will not go unanswered. You cannot sit here. Here's my opinion, okay? Right off the bat. I think Trump is awful. I think he is absolutely terrible. He never should have ever been president. As a matter of fact, if the scumbag wasn't born rich, he'd be dead long ago because he ended up dying up under a bridge because he's that much of an idiot and a narcissistic idiot. I guarantee you I can find some of these people that call themselves homeless that are only homeless because they're idiots and they're narcissists and they use people and they ran out of people to use. And that's how they look like these people that you should feel sorry for when they're predators. It's like a starved polar bear, you know? It's sad that they're in that situation, but if you go to help, they will eat you. And I'm not saying that about all homeless people, but I'm saying they do exist, especially in this state. That's what Trump would be. Trump has zero redeeming qualities. Zero. Trump is one of the worst scumbags to ever walk the earth. I cannot say what I think of Donald Trump completely. It's not legal. Okay, what I think about him, what I think should happen to him, and what I would do if something unfortunate were to happen to him. Okay, let me get that out of the way. But you're going to sit here and act like you had this benign, just pleasant, nice little party and everything was going great. And then how could somebody vote for Trump? To hell with you. And I'd really like to say worse. Only somebody who's got some money like Galifianakis would run his mouth on this. As bad as things were. And let's not pretend like some of these awful things weren't happening last year. Trump couldn't exist if the Democrats didn't suck so bad. They're terrible. They're liars, they're frauds, and that includes AOC and Bernie Sanders. In a manner of speaking, they're the worst of them. They're sheepdogs. What people don't understand, because they pick one party or the other and they're blind to the other one, is that both parties do this. Donald Trump, in a manner of speaking, was a sheepdog. You remember all his stuff about Ted Cruz, how awful he was, and then went down there and endorsed him, and then he endorsed Trump? How are you not catching on? You've had Hillary Clinton basically give her endorsement of Trump this year. Well, this term. The reason why people like Trump exist is not, you're going to sit there and blame the voters or blame these dumb comedians that were supporting him? And instead of blaming the party that it looked like he could be better than? If either one of these parties was worth a damn, the other one would never get elected. That's the reality of it. I'm sick of this night and day, hot and cold, devil and angel nonsense that people talk about with politics. Because I'm in this mess. Talk to me. Don't talk to Galifianakis or Rogan or Schultz or whoever else there is. They don't know a damn thing. I do. I'm in this. None of these pundits on Fox News or MSNBC or CNN or none of these people, they don't work. They don't know anything about it. Just had Megyn Kelly talking about work ethic and this and that. That hag doesn't know anything about work. Nothing. Nothing. None of her family knows anything about work. I looked them up. Hasn't been a bit of work done by anybody in her terrible, horrible lineage that never should have existed. She does not need to talk about workers. I'll tell you about workers. because I've seen them. I've seen the bottom. Don't let scumbags like that tell you how things are better or worse, because they don't know anything. So none of these people can tell you about if it's better or worse. I'll tell you what's going on in my lifetime, okay? One is arguably not quite as bad as the other one on some things. But overall, everything is getting steadily worse. How are you not noticing that? And just be like, oh, it's the Democrats. Oh, it's the Republicans. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Your parents raised an idiot. Check to see if they're related. I'm tired of this. I'm running out of patience for this nonsense. This crap is not helping. This is how we keep getting crap like this. This is how it keeps getting worse. Hey, guess what, Republicans? Joe Biden is your fault. Yeah. And Democrats, Donald Trump is your fault. And even some of the voters, to some degree, you couldn't hold your people to some kind of standard to where that piece of crap over there on the other side was comparable. And you're going to sit there and act like, oh, it was just miserable and awful before, but it's fantastic now. No, it's not at all. And you can reverse those things, and neither one of those things is true. It's awful, wall to wall, and it's getting worse. Some things will backpedal a little bit. I give this example to people. And it actually, some people actually seem to catch on to it. Imagine something you need is $1. $1. Okay? And then another person gets elected and it becomes $5, 5 times the price. Well, you're going to be upset. That's understandable. So the next person comes in and says they're going to reduce it. Okay? They might be a nightmare. But you're paying 5 times what you were paying for something. And you're desperate and you're poor and you're a worker. You're not Galifianakis or Rogan. So what do? You vote them in. And they do lower it. Now it's $3. See, that's what's funny. It's still 3 times what it was, but it's not 5 times. Yay! And then they do all their awful other things and make other things go up and down, make life awful any other kind of way. And then the next person gets elected and the $3 thing, well, it becomes $15. Now people are really in a panic. And they vote again. And the next guy, they vote in who's an awful train wreck of a person, a mock-up of an orange Satan. He gets in there, and now he brings it down to $10. You not catching on here? It's called the ratchet effect. So this crap, and I'm going to end up watching it, I'm really going to lose my temper. I'm sick of people doing this. You could just voted for Harris. You could just voted for Biden. Well, here's the thing. You're a rich POS, and you don't know what that means. And by the way, I didn't vote for either one of them. I've never once in my life voted for a Republican or a Democrat president. Not once. Not once. So none of this is ever my fault. As far as local politicians, I don't know if I've ever voted a Democrat or Republican or not. I don't think I have. Use this guy say independent, which in Tennessee, they'll mask what they are and call themselves an independent. So even that is not really safe. You got to ask them the important questions. These people are all funded by the same people. They're all scumbags. They're all sex offenders. And I'm just waiting for the conversation. It's going to happen soon. Well, your guy's a worse sex offender than my guy. Is that where we are? We're sitting there arguing over, let's elect the BTK killer over the Green River killer or something like that. Let's put Bundy in there because the other guy's Albert Fish. A lot of this should be a wake-up call. You know, Obama to begin with should have been kind of a wake-up call. Like, whoa, he is not at all what he should have been. And the fact that Republicans could find themselves voting for Trump after crapping their pants the whole time Clinton was in there about him being immoral, that should let them know, oh, something has happened within me. How am I voting for something like this? Because if you went in a time machine years ago and told people, hey, Donald Trump is president, Republicans would have been like, that's exactly the type of filth that the Democrats would elect. And that's a logical decision because he was up the Clintons' rear ends back then. Funded them. I mean, it's out there to see. All this information and nobody's seeing it. And I'm not even talking about the stuff that could be potential AI. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the stuff you know is real. So, little notion, if you're well off, don't run your mouth to me about how you should have voted for this person or that person. See, I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to aim for these other guys because they're wealthy. Like they specifically got him elected. Here's the thing. When somebody gets elected, especially for president, it isn't just that somebody liked them and trusted them. It's that things were so awful the way they were that they had to try something else. You're about to fall off of a mountain, you're trying to reach and grab onto something, and you look up and there's Ted Bundy offering his hand. What are you going to do? It's desperation. And it's desperation caused by the uniparty, by the duopoly. And that includes the Democrats. And right now it looks like Tucker Carlson's trying to launder J.D. Vance. No, thank you. See, that's another fake one. So he's in there. Tucker Carlson's never been poor, so he's got no clue. But at least he does say some smart things here and there. J.D. Vance is cosplaying as a working man. He's not. It's a joke. He's not. Most of these people aren't. Talk to a real poor person. I'll tell you how they're not. I'll give you a good example. In my family, I've got some cousins that cosplay as poor. Now, in the manner of speaking, they are poor. But they're not real poor. And I'll tell you how they're not. They've been on the same land for, I think, upwards of 80 years. Something like that. Maybe longer than that. Maybe it's 80 acres. Maybe I got my numbers confused. But multi-generational been on that land. They haven't paid a house payment ever. Not ever. And here's what that has to do with. Here's the issue with that. The impact. I mean, think about it in your own life. I mean, pause this if you need to. Think about that, what that would mean in your own life. If you had never had to pay a house payment or rent. Nothing. It's just there. And they complain about the land taxes. Well, how much is it? $1,000 a year? I'm not saying that's no big thing, but imagine that and a house payment. I paid in my lifetime, the cheapest rent I ever paid was $375. The cheapest house payment I ever paid was about $500. So imagine at least $375 to $500 that I would have never had to pay in my life. And of house payments, I've paid as much as 800 something, not 900, let's put it that way, between 800 and 900. A lot of people pay more than that. Maybe you have. And these people are not poor because they've had that. I say that. Because they can lose their job and still have their house. There's no landlord. There's nobody that's going to kick them out of their house. All they got to do is pay the land taxes. That's it. You got a year to do that. So you got to know what poor is. And yeah, there's different ranges of it. But just like when they let a person be close to the presidency who isn't white, you'll notice they might be technically black, but they're not that black. They're not descended from the people who were so wrongly treated in this country. They're not descended from them. They outsource them. Jamaica or one generation away from some African country. That's by design. And it's the same thing they do. I mean, you know, people don't realize they're doing that with all politicians now. It's crazy how many of them are outsourced. There's a reason for that. So they can keep like these disconnected, unfeeling people involved. And Galifianakis, I bet we can take a guess. He's just a comedian, but I bet he's not too many generations in this country. So he doesn't know what he's talking about at all. Schultz might not be too many generations into this country. There's a lot of them sitting and run their mouths. Ain't too many generations in this country. And the ones that have been here have been well off the whole time. So basically, all this is saying is, don't run your mouth about one president if you're not going to run your mouth about two of them. I'm not going to sit and listen to it. I won't. And I'm not defending Trump or anybody that voted for him, especially the rich people, celebrities and people like that. It's a dumb decision. But voting for the other party was also a dumb decision. They're both just two dumb decisions. Both of them screwed us. The fact that Biden was ever president screwed us. The fact that Trump was ever president screwed us. You say the same thing about Bush and Obama, and I'll say the same thing about the other Bush and also Reagan and Clinton. I don't care if I stand alone on that. I look at things long term. Things are bad right now because of all of them. You're voting to be punched with the other hand. That's it. So bear in mind, anytime you run your mouth trying to play holier than thou, because I voted for the other ones. I don't care what the other ones are. You're going to hear from me. Because I am on the bottom. And I've seen other people on the bottom. I've seen how they struggle and try to get by, can't afford medical bills, groceries, dental work. Any tragedy that happens. And none of that filth up there has made it any better. Not any. Not any. None of them did. None. You understand? None? None. None. Zero. They've made it no better. And we argue over these little tiny amounts. It's like, oh, well, now your medical treatment that you need is not going to be $75,000. It's going to be $50,000. Oh, well, thanks. That doesn't matter. It's time to wake up. And don't let these people propagandize and get you back into the same nonsense. We got to vote all of them out. There needs to be no Democrats and no Republicans. Both parties need to go away because they're bought and paid for.